Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at the debounce function in JavaScript, where if we, for example, like in our gymnasium project, if we enter any alphabet in the search box to search for the actual school, like if you search for a specific school, then how it delays the search by a few seconds, and then it search once it senses that you're done typing. So here we go. Alright, so today we're going to be looking at a debounce function. So that's basically, if I just run it once, you get an idea what I'm talking about. If I stop rerun and now go to HTML and then here. So you see we have this box right here, we're going to be looking at this box basically. And if I've put in, for example, this much, then you see that it waits a few seconds and then we get a response. If I take away a couple characters, it waits like a little moment and then it gives you like the result that you're looking for. So you see. So we're going to be looking, that's basically the result of a debounce function. And here we have, so this is basically the HTML bit, where we have like sections of the label, which is this one. Then we have this box, which is the input group, so class input group, and then we have input, so type text. Then ID and name is both search, because we're basically searching for the schools there. And then on input, debounce gets school names. And placeholders give school name, basically. So that's this gray stuff that we see over here that gives school names. So it's basically a placeholder. So we're going to be looking at debounce get school names. So if we go to the JavaScript, which is over here, and search debounce, yeah. So if we go to the JavaScript and now we have function debounce get school names. So then you can see that this is basically where we're doing that delay. And we're going to be going through this. So we have function debounce get school names. And then we have two things. We have clear timeout and then we have set timeout. So if we start with looking at clear timeout. Clear timeout basically, or first let's start with set timeout actually. So set timeout is basically a method in JavaScript that you have that lets you run a function or like a piece of code after a specific or like a predetermined amount of time. And it's in milliseconds, which is why we have 1,000. Like 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second. So that's why, so if I like increase it to say 2,000, and now if I put in okay, Y, for example. So you see it took like a longer amount of time. If I put in like, I'm not sure what result, yeah, okay, no results found. But it took a longer amount of time this time compared to earlier. So it takes a bit of longer time. So that's basically because we're now put in 2 seconds, as in 2,000 milliseconds. Let's keep it as 1,000. And so it's basically a set timeout that it lets you run a piece of code after a predetermined amount of time. And then you have clear timeout, which can stop the execution of the function after scheduling it to be after a certain amount of time. So clear timeout, if we just say it simply, is it lets you remove an already established timeout. So this set timeout is establishing a timeout, and then the clear timeout removes this set timeout so that it restarts the timer again, basically. So then if we look at get school names, which is on click over here, so when you click the search button, so if we take a look at get school names, so then if we do Control F and then get school names over here, there's a function get school names. So basically where we're getting the school names, not what we're looking at right now, but technically it's just that we're getting all the school names. So if I put in like Anna here again, then if I click search, so then you see that we're just getting all the school names. Or if I just say put A, then we're getting all the schools starting with A, or in alphabetical order after that. But that's basically, and otherwise, if we look at so if we go back to the debounce one, we just type in debounce. So here, so set timeout is to set like a delay for a specific piece of code. So this code that we're getting, we want to delay, we want to give it like 1 second before this piece of code is run, before it actually gets all the school names. And clear timeout is that every time we reach here, that every time we reach the get school names, it wants to reset the timer so that after each alphabet you get like a new chance. So that's basically what the debounce function is, delaying the code so that we have like 1 second and then it displays all of the school names instead of it doing like repeatedly. Because in that way we reduce like the amount of effort the code is making, because then it doesn't need to retrieve it every few milliseconds that we type something. Instead it waits for you to complete typing and then you get like the result you want.